Welcome to another episode of Brutality Podcast. This week's guest is Michael, the guitarist from the Partisan Turbine. Amazing episode. This one goes all the way back. Partisan Turbine started in 2003. So of course we get all into the flip phone, the sidekick, the Zoom, all that good stuff. But joking aside, the band was around from 2003 to 2009. They put out the iconic EP, in my opinion, Surgical Assault. So we get a pretty hefty deep dive on the EP itself, a bunch of samples, recording stories, a bunch of lore around the EP itself. They were on SOAR for a second before being dropped. They have a full length as well. They toured with Whitechapel pre the Somatic Defilement. So a bunch of crazy stuff in this episode. Enjoyed our chat very much so. Hope you guys do as well. Real quick before hopping in, just want to mention we have a Patreon if you guys want to help support the show. That is the way to do so. Early access to episodes, ad-free versions of the episodes as well. All of that over at the Patreon, patreon.com/brutality podcast. Aside from that, we have some merch of our own over at indiemerchstore.com. Just search up Brutality Podcast on the website. You'll find it. More about them later, as they are also a sponsor of this episode. So all that out of the way, enjoy this episode. Michael of the Partisan Turbine, how are we doing? Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm psyched to be here.
Hell
Dude,
yeah.
We're stoked too, man. This is like, that's how everything started, man. To have stories that you won't find on Wikipedia, with all due respect.
I mean, I don't even think we have any sort of profiles online for any information. So I guess this is it.
This is it. This is like Yan said. This is why we do this stuff, because we personally grew up on so much music that, you know, if you don't know where to search for the information, and even when you do, so, you know, some of these bands you can't find shit about these bands anymore. And you guys are definitely one of those situations. We were.
Yeah.
We were even, you know, trying to find a photo of you to use for a thumbnail, and that was a whole thing. So
yeah,
imagine any info.
No, hardly any videos, pictures. You know, all the cameras that were back then were, you know, the worst quality. So no cell phones. I mean, no good cell phones at least. So.
Yeah, I was about to say, because like at that time it was like, when you had a cell phone, it meant you had like a cell phone, or
yeah. I mean,
because even the flip was a bit later. Am I crazy?
I mean, I always had terrible phones, even up until like, I don't think I had an iPhone until 2013, 2014. I always had the worst flip phones.
Okay. They were unbreakable though. I'll give that to the flip phones.
You know, I will say maybe for like, I was late in this game also. I did have a sidekick for like a year.
There we go. I mean, that was the cool thing to have. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, everyone around me had them, but nah, I don't know why I just didn't have a cell phone. I guess I was, no one, my parents
didn't
get me.
Did you have an iPod though? That's the question.
Yes and no. I had a couple different ones.
MP3?
None of them ever. I had a very shitty MP3 player. You know, the 20 songs.
It's like an album and 3/4 you can fit onto it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a random assortment of whatever songs. I don't even remember how you put them onto the MP3 player.
It was different times, man. I just I'll always remember being pissed off about, you know, like I said, like you could put like two albums on there maybe, but like you'd never get the last few songs on the second record.
What was the other one? Was it the Zune or whatever?
The Zune, yeah.
Yeah, I think one, not the Partisan Turbine, whatever band that we had before that. It was just like a really shitty hardcore band. The first song we ever recorded was on some like knockoff Zune that's for whatever reason had a mic. and it sounded awful. But the second we just did a live recording, and the second we finished recording, we put it on MySpace immediately.
I mean,
that was
dude.
how it worked back then, though.
Yeah, and then like a couple days later, you have someone from across the country being like, "This is awesome," but it was probably just some like 14-year-old kid that just knew nothing.
I
Still
mean, we were all those 14-year-old kids.
I mean, yeah, I mean, at that time we
so.
were 15 years old, also.
Dude, it's kind of crazy to look back on, because I don't know, especially back then, like that was so new, like that concept of being able to regardless of quality, like to be able to self-record,
Yeah.
and to immediately be able to put it out into the world. Like the way you just described is like quite literally some of the earliest forms of that, and it's so
Yeah,
common
definitely.
now. Like anyone can upload anything to even Spotify if they want today,
Just
but
to even,
back
I mean,
then,
there was so many limited places to even upload music. I mean, even before MySpace, I mean, I don't know. I guess Pure Volume came before MySpace.
yeah,
Was
it's
it
all.
before? Maybe.
I mean,
a
it's
bit
all
before.
around the same time. It's just like
Yeah.
HXC, whatever.
Yeah, HXE MP3 or whatever, right? That's what it was, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, there was like, you couldn't upload music anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it was hard.
Oh, and dude, let's not forget, like even like on the MySpace player, that was like 128 fucking whatever the quality thing is. Like it was like dog shit quality that you had to upload on there. So even then, like we had something, but I don't know. I think thankfully in big quotes, like all the music was terribly recorded to begin with, so I think music,
I mean, but
MP3
whatever.
quality didn't really matter all that much at that point, I guess.
No, not at all. But it was great. I mean, some of the shittiest recording music has been some of my favorite.
I mean, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
right there with you. That's again our whole thing here. But dude, I mean, look, I do want to go through a little bit of band history with you.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
But before we get there, though, well, two things. It's so fucking cool, and we'll get to that more specifically near the end. But you guys are playing your guys' first show in like almost
That's
20
insane.
fucking years. Like saying the Partisan Turbine.
Turbine.
Okay, the Partisan Turbine playing a show in 2026 is like the craziest sentence to say out loud.
I've been trying to make it happen for honestly the last like 5 years. I mean, just
Wow.
begging the other members, just like, yo, can we please? And just this one just happened to line up perfectly. They were on board, so I'm very excited. But I've been pushing for it for probably since 2020, and just trying every year, the show's offers come in, and just having to be like, yo, sorry, like I wish we could, but they don't want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, look, for what it's worth, this is a pretty goated lineup and show concept to come back to.
Yeah,
so at least there's that, right? But yeah, dude, let's kind of go back in time, and like I'd love to maybe even talk about you getting into music in the first place, and maybe you growing up. Like what was music for you before this band? Like were your parents into music? How'd you get into heavy music in general? Well, what's the heavy music origin story here?
Not too heavy, honestly. Like as a preteen, I was straight up classic rock kid, fucking Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all bands like that. I don't think I graduated into heavier music until maybe I was 13, 14. Also, I was very into 80s metal. That is probably my intro to metal, I guess, if you can call it that.
What bands are we talking about?
Dio, Dokken, Rat, Motley Crue, just real shit hair metal bands, and great, just I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's
if
already
it had
like,
a ridiculous guitar solo like
Yeah.
that's what, you know, if the music video
okay.
had the guitarist coming through a wall playing a guitar solo, you know, then I liked it.
I mean, that kind of checks out. Were you already playing guitar at that point?
uh Not really.
Okay.
I mean, even up until I think when TPT started, I was playing guitar for maybe 2 years. I was terrible. I mean, it was. We can go into it more. We had a band prior to TPT, and I was actually playing keyboards.
Okay.
Yeah, was a little too into Horse the Band at that time.
Were you moving like crazy as you were playing though? That's the important. You're playing keyboard. Were you like
Yeah.
going crazy?
Oh yeah, I mean, I had like because it barely had actual real keyboard parts. I was just making fucked up noises and shit. So yeah, I had to make it crazy. I mean, we played a skate park once. You know, we're all 14, 15 years old at this point. I come out in nothing but short shorts, no shirt, nothing. And I guess the owner of the skate park got really pissed off about that for some reason and told us to stop playing. I have no idea why. It was just like, but I guess looking back, just like a 14-year-old kid in nothing but short shorts is kind of weird.
Going crazy on a keyboard. Yeah, that's.
Okay, so
Fair
then,
enough.
but at some point, like you're talking about like these hair metal bands, and if it had like a sick solo, like that's what you were kind of drawn to. Like what prompted you to then, you know, it feels like you already knew, even when you played keyboard, you're like secretly you knew, you just really fucked with guitar ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, like somehow for some reason, I could play like more leads before I could play rhythm. Like I could not play rhythm guitar for shit. Like I just don't know, like all like chugging and stuff like that, like palm muting. I could not do it for like, which is kind of ridiculous because that's kind of all TPT is now. So it definitely came. Uh, it's something I had to work on a lot, but it came eventually.
Okay, and then so you say you play guitar for like 2 years. Like what was the inception of the band? You talked about having like a hardcore band.
Yeah,
with some of the members before that. What was that transition? How's
that band? I mean, if you want me to go into that band, that was 3 out of 5 of TPT members, and that band was called, for short, it was called Anahat, but it was a nerve, a heart, a tragedy, and it we were terrible. There's probably recordings somewhere. If you look on, I think a couple of years ago, just for the shit fuck of it, I put them on Bandcamp. So if you look that up, you can definitely find them. All we have is a 5-song demo. Not good music, terrible keyboard parts.
You mentioned like hardcore, but that sounds like the most metalcore ass fucking band name ever. Like
it really wasn't though. It really we were definitely maybe a little too much into like street screamo-ish, I guess.
Sure.
So I guess it depends on your definition of hardcore, but definitely not metal. It was just kind of bad breakdowns and even worse 2-step parts. Maybe that's about as best I can describe it.
Okay,
it's kind of what people were looking for. That's the
I mean, the whole early 2000s was how can we just bridge all of these breakdowns? At least, you know, to me and the bands that like our local bands around us, I feel like it was like, hey, we have all this sick breakdowns. What kind of just like filler, just riffs can we put in between it that bridge it all together?
Just do something.
Yeah. But if you listen to a lot of like one band that really comes to mind is early Dead to Fall.
Yeah.
There's so many parts where like they'll be playing a riff and then it'll just like completely just no transition at all go into some other breakdown or riff, but it was like awesome.
I still enjoyed that, to be fair. Like you say that, but like because I'm also big on August Burns Red, and they did it all the time. You know, they would just like in the middle of a riff, boom, breakdown for
or it's like a fast like part and just like stop out of nowhere and then go into some other riff.
It's like, objectively speaking, bad songwriting, but like there's a charm to it, I guess. You
Yes.
know, and
Yeah,
especially
I mean,
I think more youthful stuff. You're just kind of like, all right,
yeah,
this is
I
cool.
don't know if any of us really knew what we were doing. We were just fucking around and trying to sound and look cool. That was probably that was all important to us. The looks was probably more important than the sound.
That's possible.
That was the era for sure. But then like what? So how does a screamo-ish hardcore band turn into a death metal band, basically?
It didn't. So originally, early TPT was definitely more grind, like
Yeah.
Sawtooth Grin, Daughters, like that's what we were just into, just like as fast as possible, random sliding things all over. You know, we were Robinson, to name another band, just things like that. I don't even know how. Well, I do know how we got into more, some more bands around, 2005 started coming out. I guess what you would say deathcore now. I mean, it was not deathcore back then, but what you would say the origins of, first ramblings of deathcore, started coming on. Then we were like, we need to do this.
Okay. Like you guys all started fucking with that sort of music and kind of decided, hey,
Yeah, I mean,
let's change our
originally,
sound.
I think we played in like Drop C, and then once, like, I mean, one band's and album that comes to mind is Implosive Discordance, the Chapters EP. That like changed everything for, it's like we need the tune to drop A. Like, so we went from drop C to drop
That's like a fucking
A,
fat
and
gap.
it's
Yeah.
like, and it almost didn't work because we just didn't have 7 strings. We didn't have money for 7 strings. You have to, we were like 15, 16 years old at this time. Didn't have money for any sort of music equipment. So whatever guitars we had.
Dude, sorry to cut you off, but 7 strings too, like at that time weren't really like, you can walk into any music store now and pick up a 7 string.
Yeah.
That was not the case back then,
Yeah, they were here and there. I remember some bands having them, but I never really thought about it. I mean, we didn't have 7 strings until maybe a year and a half before we stopped being a band. But
I'm saying this in the context also that it wasn't really accessible. Like I bought a $300 fucking 7-string. That was not a thing back then.
Nope.
Yeah, and it's hard to keep a shitty 6-string guitar in drop A in tune. We didn't have access to whatever gauge strings that we need these days. People playing in fucking drop G or drop double D, whatever they play in these days.
But am I crazy, or not to cut you off? Sorry, but like when you play drop A with like a 6-string, there's still. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying there's like a greediness to it because it's kind of sloppy. Like it's not supposed to be played like that.
It was not good. Yeah,
it's like demo sounding automatically. Yeah. If that makes sense.
The Surgical Assault EP was recorded with a 6-string guitar, barely holding on to stay in tune and drop A.
Detuning as you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, it just probably having to tune. Anytime we stop, we're tune the whole guitar. And the funny thing is, I mean, we were playing like that for over probably almost 2 years.
That's insane. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what you do when you're young, though, too, right? Like it's again.
Yeah. I mean, we just did. Yeah, I didn't have money.
Yeah,
I didn't have money to buy gear or guitars or anything. I mean, now I can go out and kind of I have multiple 7-strings at this point, and and building up show gear. I don't necessarily have had, I mean, I just had no use for, amps and stuff for shows. So building that back up. But But back then, yeah, I mean, we used what we had, and it wasn't a lot.
Yeah. What can you tell me about, like, because there is that like period kind of 2003 till the EP, you know, that's like, there's like really music online. Like, were there demos? Were you guys playing
Yeah.
shows? Like, how active were you guys? Or what kind of came from like those years prior to kind of changing the sound?
Yeah, I mean, we were playing shows probably for close to a year before the EP came out. We did have a couple of demos, and we had a live recording of our second show. Um, Again, not good, and I don't think they're not online anywhere.
Hmm.
Maybe I still have the files somewhere. Dig them up. But we were just a completely different band sound wise. We're playing very different music. Like I said, it was just very grindy and just like chaotic all over the place. Still like the breakdowns, but it's just not the same as like we didn't have slams or I feel like we didn't really start going into slam territory until right before we stopped being a band.
Yeah, I mean, because it all makes me think of like Abacab as well. They had kind of like a similar like grindy kind of origin to.
We were pretty good friends with them, and that's probably I'm sure in some way they helped get our name out there. We had played shows with them. I think the first time. I don't remember. I mean, because those were the days where you could just message someone on MySpace, and if they were in the area, they were just coming through to hang out. Like, I don't remember if it was Abacab or another band of theirs, but we were just at our singer's house. They were on tour or something. They were in the area for whatever reason. I don't remember. And we were just like, "Hey, come through." They came through, we gave them some pizza, some food and stuff. And that was like the start of our relationship with them. And we were friends with them for a couple of years.
Yeah. Awesome. It just really reminds me of that similar kind of, they were like grindy kind of.
Yeah. Even more there. I think it's other members of Abacab. Everything Falls Together.
Okay.
That band, was definitely a very big influence on the Partisan Turbine.
Yeah. You sent me some show listings when we started talking.
Yeah.
And one of them mentioned, like, besides your name, it was first show.
Yeah.
And this was like a show with Immure. Like what year are we talking here?
2005.
Okay.
That was our first show. We didn't have a bassist. We didn't have a bassist for probably the first year of being a band. I don't know why or how. We were just playing shows. We just decided that we didn't need a bassist for whatever reason.
People are still thinking that for what it's worth.
But our first show with Amur, they were definitely not the Amur that people know today.
Yeah.
I mean, we played first at that show. I think they played second or third.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly,
on like a 7 or 8 band bill type of thing.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, they covered the Acacia Strain Car Bomb twice for some reason.
Bands have been doing this in the big year 2025 as well. It's dude.
But yeah, I maybe that first. I'm not too familiar with Amir's discography that much. That whatever that first EP that they had, maybe that was just out, or
book cover type of thing.
Yeah, maybe that was just out, or maybe that was about to be out. I assume they were still on somewhat of a local level.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about, because obviously, just a couple of years later, they obviously blew up way more.
Yeah, you guys ended up playing quite a bit. I mean, they with them, like they were, because they were kind of local to you guys, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that whole like Jersey, New York, like
that whole Connecticut. I mean, we were in We probably played Connecticut more than we played New York, where we were from, at one point, which was fun. I mean, it was good to. I mean, the scenes were definitely different, so it was good to play out while we could.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know for you, but like to me personally, playing in a band was never about playing the local show, right? So any and all opportunities of playing out of the city or out of state for that matter is like there's always cooler if anything, right?
The first year of being a band, you know, we were playing whatever we could, backyards, basements, VFWs, bars, anything we could. I mean, I don't think we started really getting serious until, you know, we got a bassist, we got a new drummer, we recorded an EP, and that's when we started, you know, picking things up a little bit. But the first year of playing was kind of just teenagers just fucking around. And
do you have any specific memories of like the maybe something weird that happened? Because you're saying like backyards and like all those crazy shows. Do you have like specific memories of like something, I don't know, something weird or a show that was like
the pop worst, the fuck off or the worst?
Yeah, something like that. It's a while ago, to your defense, but I'm just curious.
I mean, this is like 20 plus years ago, so sorry. I mean, I don't remember. I see like people post flyers of shows that we played, and I'll just be like, I 100% do not remember playing that show. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Like a lot from that time, I just have no memory of for some reason.
Completely fine.
But yeah, there was a couple. I mean,
I don't know how early some of these lineups you sent me were, but there were some crazy ass fucking lineups.
Yeah, like, I mean,
like Ion Dissonance, you guys played a bunch with. Like I've got this like Ion Dissonance, August Burns Red, Legia, fucking. That's like a crazy cool lineup at the time too.
But for whatever reason, that was just like a normal Friday or Saturday night at like the local venue. We were lucky enough to live in an area where bands were actually playing.
Yeah. Like passing through, like touring bands passing through.
Yeah. I mean, passing through, you know, eventually, you know, we got to play, you know, with bigger bands that came through. You know, I think I sent you one that was like Suicide Silence, All Shall Perish. I don't remember who else was on that show.
Too Pure to Die. Yeah. You guys like the city. Like Dr. Acula's on that too.
It's hilarious that these shows were like $12. So that was, you know, another good thing, that it was just more accessible to people. Just come out, you know. Dude, if they knew the bands or not, you know, it just whatever, like let's just go to a show.
Like you only spend $10, like who gives a fuck, right? Like
you know, it was a whole afternoon or whole night out, you know, so you're good.
This one you sent me is like,
what is this?
It's like a 2 stages, 16 bands. It's a $10 all ages show, you know.
That's like, just the kind of stuff that happened. I mean, and half those
Dr.
bands,
Acula is one of 16 on this flyer. I fucking
the funny, like, you know, half or 3/4 of those bands are local bands. Also, you know, the scene was just, you know, that good at the time. I mean, it's still good now. But you know, Long Island at that time.
But you don't got a 16 band fucking show anymore for $10. I mean, and you know.
No, I mean, you're lucky. I mean, I don't care that much because I don't think I could handle a 16 band. I barely handle 3 band shows.
I look, and people are gonna hate me for this, but I show up for when I need to, and I leave for when I'm good.
Yeah, you know? I feel you. It's hard. It's gotten hard for me. My body cannot stand in one place for long periods of times, so like I'll have to like walk it off. My back will be killing me, so it's hard to watch hours worth of bands playing. It's not something I can really do much anymore.
I relate. By the way, I'm because what you just showed, I think it was like 2006, right? Am I crazy? Like what stood out to me, it's like 2000. Not to jump ahead too much, but like 2007. It's wild. You guys played with Whitechapel, Elysia, and Night of the Abyss. Like that's like insane.
Well,
I'm seeing
we're gonna have to get to that later, though, Yan.
I know.
Me and him talked about this specific thing. It'll come near the end of the career, without giving too much away.
Okay, but it's just I was streaming to, and that's the most 2007 thing I've ever seen. You see new era caps worn like this with emo haircut. Like that's the most 2007 thing you could ever see, by the way. So
just a quick second to talk about the sponsor of today's episode, Indie Merch Store. Massive shout out, as always, to Indie Merch for supporting the show. We got 2 messages for you guys today. First up, we've got Relapser Records with a massive restock on a whole bunch of stuff throughout their catalog. Got a ton of bestsellers and new items. We're talking tees, vinyl, and more from bands like Agoraphobic. Agoraphobic. That's a hard word, but Agoraphobic. Nosebleed, Death, Pig Destroyer, Dying Fetus, Baroness, Cephalic Carnage, and so much more, with more on the way as well. You can find all of that over at indiemerchstore.com. Second thing to talk about, our boys in Angel Maker. They have some pre-orders up right now for a few items, a brand new merch line. It's the gas station merch line. If you're into wolf shirts and the such, they've got you covered. It's a limited drop. It's a pre-order. It's going on right now. So if you missed them on their recent tour with Shadow of Intent, this is the way that you can get some merch from the band and help support the boys. So you can find all of that over at indiemerchstore.com. As always, you guys can use code Brutality at checkout for 10% off of your entire order. Again, that's code Brutality at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Massive shout out once again to Indie Merch Store for supporting the show. And now, back to the episode. What were you guys like? You mentioned you were able to think back to what were some of those bands to you that made you guys want to make the jump towards more, not deathcore, but whatever it was being called, death metal, I guess back then. Like what were those bands that kind of made you guys go like, okay, this is what we want to shoot for?
Like I definitely, number one, Implosive Discordance, definitely the Chapters EP, that was that we were just like, we need to play this. Like, this is the type of music we need to be playing. What other bands? Bands like Circle of Dead Children, Terminally Aborted Ghost. More, I don't think bands that you would associate with what people would necessarily call deathcore now. I guess more on the
it's those early days. It's like those early. It's like we said, like it wasn't called deathcore even for a few years afterwards, right? So.
No, it was definitely the Red Chord was definitely an early band that we were definitely heavily influenced by. I mean, I think some of the first shows that we ever played, we were terribly covering Terminally Aborted Ghost.
Okay.
Even though, like, I don't think anyone, that we were playing shows for even, would remotely know who that band is. So,
but them and Circle of Dead Children are kind of like for that era, like your kind of wave of bands. Those Red Chord too. Those were kind of like your favorite band's favorite band. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
If you were a musician and like playing that kind of music, like you for sure knew. But to your point, maybe not everyone else, but people were into that. Like it was so specifically those sort of bands, right?
Yeah, definitely. As far as the more like mainstream standards of deathcore bands, we were listening, Despise Icon. What else we got? I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily deathcore, but Through the Eyes of the Dead, things like that. Like I said, I definitely come from the more metal side, so I was definitely more metalcore and death metal. That's kind of the influence I was bringing to it. Our other guitarist, had came from more of like a street punk background.
Okay.
So, he was not so much bringing to the table like the death metal side.
Yeah.
So
That
I guess
wasn't his go-to.
that was the mesh. He was good at the fast rhythm stuff, and then I was bringing in the leads and the slams to some degree at that point.
It's funny because you look back on your guys' old bios and stuff and MySpace and stuff and like you guys would explicitly write like you were like lead guitar and he was rhythm.
I
like,
don't know who
like...
did that. I mean, I don't know. That's not something that I ever specifically asked for. I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't remember. But yeah, I guess that was for whatever reason. Yeah, we did that.
It's just funny because that I mean that to be fair was like a thing in like certain genres or and stuff, but like that's just like I guess specifically in like death metal and like deathcore.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I guess
in 2026 you never see that again. So it's just kind of like a time capsule thing that I found funny.
Yeah, maybe it stems from me, just like I said. At first, I just like could not play rhythm guitar for shit, and I was just playing a lot of leads and just like single note lead stuff. So maybe it was like, well, I'm the lead guitarist and he's the rhythm guitarist.
Yeah. It's got here's the shred guy and here's the guy that like sometimes make riffs, which is funny because that's not exactly the dynamic in the songwriting, but that's been a thing, someone who's like songwriter and the other guy comes in with solos,
Yeah, I mean, even though I don't think we really have that much shred as I would have liked, but I just was not good at guitar, so we just played what we could. Going back and relearning a lot of the music, almost a lot of the songs sound, riff wise are almost exactly the same.
Hey,
it's one big song.
Yeah, basically. I think there's a video on YouTube that it's just every Partisan Turbine song playing at the same time.
Sounds the same.
It basically, we weren't writing masterpieces, but I guess people like them, so who am I to complain?
That's for the people to say, not for you, right?
I feel like people like the songs more than I do, so if you like them, you like them, and I'm here to play them for you, I guess. Me personally, to a degree, I like them. I wouldn't say it's the best work, but it is what it is.
Look, let's hop into it. Speaking of which, surgical assault.
Yeah.
So it's like 2006. You guys have this change of sound. You guys are experimenting this new thing. You guys go in with Joe at full force, but he was like still not starting out. It had been a few years for him, but he's gone on to do like some pretty crazy shit since then.
Yeah, he was always, I think recording like Suffocation and stuff. That was a big draw. Those dudes were always close by. Even now, their newer guitarist Charlie, I think joined the band maybe like I don't know 8-10 years ago. I went to high school with him. To some degree, we've the Long Island death metal circle is pretty close.
That's like where a lot of those bands kind of ended up. The Internal Bleedings, Dehumanize, which is the offshoot of even like Waking. They ended up there too. Like,
yeah, it was definitely the place to go if you were a death metal band from Long Island.
Yeah, but we are kind of though like a far cry away from the Zune recording, right? So what was the mindset for you guys at this point? Like, you guys are clearly wanting to like put out something quote unquote like more serious, I guess, like get a proper recording. Like what kind of went into doing that with Joe and getting this one done?
Honestly, I was more of a member that I showed up and played.
Okay.
I was I was not managing anything at this time. I was just like in another world, did not care about anything other than showing up and playing the songs. So as far as, you know, planning this out, I had nothing to do with it.
Sure.
I was writing the songs and you know, playing them, playing shows. I guess to some point, you know, like I said, we had gotten a bass player. We had gotten a new drummer, the dude that had recorded drums on Surgical Assault. So we were definitely trying to, and at that point, you know, we were playing, you know, bigger shows and, you know, expected to, you know, be a more professional band as we could for 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, but I assume though, like outside of you taking, you know, decisions or not, I feel like there must have at the very least been like a band consensus or feeling like, hey, let's push for this, or like, are you guys wanting to, like, it's clearly not just a garage band for fun anymore. Like there's maybe talks of like, hey, it would be cool to tour, or like to, you know, like you said, to be taken seriously.
Yeah. That was the full intent, you know, as much as we could, you know, and we did just we definitely wanted to, you know, be a professional bands.
Yeah. So how was it for you recording with Joe?
It was good. I mean, we actually recorded with him twice. I mean, the full length was with him as well. Completely different experience, though. We can go into that.
Okay.
You know, the recording the second time was partially downfall of the band. But recording the first time, you know, amazing. You know, it was, you know, went, you know, as quick to like record the whole Surgical Assault EP cost us maybe $600 compared to trying to do the full length was multiple thousands, and it was just such a flop and a failure that it was kind of a bummer.
Yeah. What was dude, 600? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 600, 650, like for I don't it's 14 minutes worth of music, if even, I think. But everything, you know, we didn't record to like a click. There's no metronome, no click, you know, it was just playing along and recording at the same time. So for me now, it's hard because I try to go back and play along to the songs, and it's almost impossible because the tempos are just so all over the place that it's like it's hard to lock in with the recordings.
The guitar detuning itself as you're
trying
to...
I mean, so, and this is the first time I ever, you know, was in a professional studio recording.
Exactly, yeah. That's why I asked. Like, there's like something to like being like 16, 17-year-olds going to like a studio that, you know, has got like Suffo coming through and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at this point, there's hype surrounding it as well. So it's kind of a good feeling. I mean, like, it's resonating with people. You're in a studio. Like, it's actually pretty cool at that age, right?
Yeah. I mean, again, I was just like in another world, I guess.
Yeah.
I was just showing up and playing.
Guitar.
I'm just showing up and playing. As far as, you know, strategic planning was not on my radar. Other members were taking care of that, and you know, that's another led to more issues because, you know, obviously when everything is on one person or two people, things start to crack.
Very often, yes.
This is, I was listening back through and it was bugging me. There's like, and I don't know if it's every single song or if it's just the one song. There's a song that sounds really different. Like
Surgical,
the sound,
the title track, Surgical Assault. Yeah.
So what's up with that?
Honestly, I don't know. I wish I had a better answer. I feel like maybe, you know, Joe was just mixing or whatever. I mean, at least to me, I don't think, you know, I don't think he gave a fuck, really. He was just like, oh, these kids are paying me, like, whatever. Like, I mean, maybe he feels differently about it. I don't know. I mean, maybe he was hyped on it. But for him, I don't know. It's just got to be like, what are these kids doing? Whatever. So to me, my thoughts was, maybe it's just him kind of just like not giving a fuck, and it just ended up that way, that it was just mixed differently or not finished, but 100%, yeah, it's a different tone than the rest of the album.
Or it's the last song you recorded and you were tired of retuning the guitars, and at the end you're just like, it's gonna sound like it's gonna sound like.
I mean, there was definitely songs on that I was recording with like $100 Epiphone Les Paul in drop A, like, which is insane to think of, like, because it just could not work at all. I mean, and it sounded
it's like
miserable,
a drop D guitar type of guitar,
Yeah, I mean, it's like a beginner, $150 guitar. The strings on it, were probably whatever gauge, that are just, also probably like 6 months, a year old. So it's not, we weren't going into it with professionalism.
I would pay to see how loose and miss like the strings on the guitar as you play.
But look, all that to say though, like I think it sounds dope. Like for what it's worth, like I think, obviously you have a different attachment to it.
Yeah.
But especially for like back then, like there's like way shittier sounding recordings of like deathcore and death metal from back then, and I personally feel like it still holds up, if anything. Like obviously the goal here is not aiming digital like pristine recording, and there's like something to the brutality of the music that to me kind of just fits that, and that's what that vibe was, especially back then. Like that's what made some of that music really stand out, to me at least, in that specific genre. So to me, I don't mind it. It's just that one song, and it's smack in the middle of the song of the album too. So it's just, it's kind of 100%. Like jarring when it starts.
No,
You're like,
I get it. 100%.
What just happened
Completely
here?
different tone. Completely different tone. 100%.
All right.
No real answer on that.
But I mean, that's an answer in and of it.
That's all. That's itself, my only. That's the only thing I can think of is just like lack of caring on the mixing ends. But whatever. I don't think we cared. To us, it was just like, we want to get music, because we hadn't had. Maybe we had a couple songs recorded, just some like basement demos or whatever. Maybe we had put a couple of them on MySpace. But really, we just wanted, we were going so hard on MySpace at that time, like as everyone was. So like, it's kind of like got to the point, we need something to put to the image, we need music.
Well, can you kind of speak to that? Like the kind of getting on MySpace and going hard on MySpace? Like what was that for the band?
It was like most bands, or more, lower tier bands at that time. You had the promo pics and all the art before you had any music, and that we were definitely that bands, having multiple promo pics and whatever kind of art, the flashy shit all over our MySpace. But yeah, I don't think we really had music to, go along with it. Like I said, a couple of demos here and there that were self-recorded, but I think we just needed to like actually take a step and like record real music so we could put it out.
Yeah.
I think to move forward, like as a band, we just had to, like, you can only just ride the shitty demos and MySpace hype so far. So I guess we felt like we need to actually be a band.
Maybe you don't have all the answers for this, but I'm kind of curious on you guys have a ton of samples on this record.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories on where some of these come from, or like the ones that stick out to me? There's the Jay and Silent Bob one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kill all these fucks before the
that
breakdown.
one. But with that one, I don't think the scream was part of, that's a whole separate clip. I think that's not part of the same clip. And that was a straight rip. That was a straight rip of Job for a Cowboy. I mean, we wanted the scream.
You mean there's like another sample spliced with
yeah,
that quote
exactly.
is what you mean. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. There's like another whatever goes into the breakdown is like another kind of like a Mortal Kombat kind of sound or whatever.
That scream, whatever that high pitched scream is, that's a direct. We wanted to just completely rip off Job for a Cowboy. The fucking the scream right into the fucking breakdown.
Look, respectfully, I'll say it too, but some of the riffing is like there's like some songs that literally start off it's just in 2 minutes of a machine, but it's you guys.
100%. I mean, I'll say not even that EP, just that song specifically was a huge influence.
And then there's like the Howard Dean speech that's like there's like 2 minutes of silence on the last song of the album, and then there's the speech. Like, whoa, can you tell us anything about that?
I think it just came from, we were very big into YouTube. Like when YouTube first started, it was just like Wild West. You could upload whatever. It was just like crazy. So we were just constantly on YouTube, and I think we had just come across that, and just that BR was just so ridiculous to us that like we had to put it in.
But it's like 2 minutes of silence, and then it goes into the sample. Like it's so random. Like there's just like it's not accompanied by a breakdown afterwards or any other sort of music.
It makes no sense. I don't know why we did it. There's no reason we did it other than like it was just hilarious to us.
It's a secret track. Normally that would be a secret track, but it's just a sample.
Yeah, and it's just random. It's no more than just us thinking the BR is hilarious.
But dude, because I was revisiting this and then like going back into that sample, like it is crazy to think that for context, for anyone who doesn't know, like it's like a politician from Vermont who like gave this fucking speech, and then he does this like scream at the end, but like the scream is like, dude, it's like whatever, but it like killed his career. That like ended his career in politics because he did like a or like some fucking scream at the end of his out of his speech because he was like so hyped.
It's definitely referenced a few times in other like pop culture stuff. Yeah. Over the years.
Absolutely, but I think it's crazy. Like what it took back then that was so fucking outlandish that it would cancel a fucking dude and like destroy his career versus like what politics is today. It's just like it could not be so fucking different. It's crazy to think. Like that clip shows up today, like that happens today. Nobody bats an eye. There's like nobody gives. It's not even a TikTok clip in 2026.
Like, it's just silly, stupid. It's not even anything like that. So to think that it could just like people were like, "What is this guy doing?" So
I don't know. It was like the craziest thing in whatever 04 or whatever. It's like not even is less than tame by 2026 standards for politics. But okay, and then there's like the breakdown in Inertia.
Yeah.
Is like the one breakdown that's like really a breakdown. Like most of the record is more like it's like slamming breakdowns. It's more like
we didn't have too many open breakdowns. Just chugging open breakdowns. That definitely is probably one of the only ones. That clip that comes before it, I've tried to remember or think of where it came from. Obviously, it's some sort of Night of the Living Dead-esque movie. I cannot remember for what movie it was actually from.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you.
that breakdown is sick. Like to me, I'm like, that was MySpace at that time, you know, in the more deathcore sense of the word. I always fucked with that breakdown.
I guess to some, that's I guess the standout song. It does sound slightly different than the rest of the EP. I think it's got a more, I guess, more deathcore-ish sound, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I guess that tends to be the fan favorite. Not my favorite, but a fan favorite, I guess.
What's your favorite on the record? I know you...
Probably Defleshed.
Okay. Any particular reason?
Just it like grooves. I mean, just like this. I wish we went more into the slams, and just like groove, you know, just groovy slams. We started touching on it as, you know, towards the end of the bands, but we never really got to really go full into it.
Like fully explore it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you guys put out the EP, how does like SOAR and Candlelight like come about?
Good question.
I'm assuming like a MySpace message that was just kind of the thing back then.
So.
But there's like a weird context around you. Like you guys put out the EP, they come into the picture. You guys are like announced as like, hey, these guys got an album coming out in 2007, but then that doesn't happen, and you guys aren't on SOAR. There's like a story clearly to tell around that whole thing.
So yeah, we had put out the EP. Obviously, I guess that had gained some traction. You know, we were playing some bigger shows. Maybe Whitechapel. I feel like somehow we were starting to talk to people in Whitechapel because they were on SOAR also at the time.
The early,
and we ended up in 2007 on a summer tour with them. That was like the SOAR here. I don't know if you can see this tour. So
Whitechapel, Red Death. Oh yeah, Discreet
and the Partisan Turbine. And this was it was about a month long full US tour. That's the only real full US tour we ever went on.
And this is Somatic Defilement for them, like released already or not even, like, because this is 06.
It's
like around those times.
I guess this was kind of like not officially the tour for that album, but you know, that's around all they were playing. Like that's what they were playing. Yeah.
Were turnouts crazy on that run? Like, was there like massive hype for Whitechapel on that run, or?
Yeah, I think so. You know, obviously some shows were better than others. Also, we had like the first couple of shows on the tour, we couldn't make because I'm about to call out our drummer and other guitarists. They bailed out on the tour days before the tour. So we had to scramble to get a drummer and a guitarist.
The easiest type of music to find.
And to learn the songs. So we had a friend that was, I don't recall what band he was in. He from Connecticut. He played drums. I believe his name was Dave. Don't remember what band he was in. He was able to play drums for us. He was saved the day, really.
Thank God it was an opening slot.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we missed maybe the first 5 dates or something like that. I think the show started. The tour started. When did it start? Upstate New York, and kind of went down into Pennsylvania, and then some Tennessee. We met up.
So you guys had to catch up.
Yeah, so we met up
on top of missing the shows. Yeah.
We were. I think the first show for us on the tour was a hometown show for Whitechapel.
Okay.
Which obviously, you know, kids are going to show up and you know, go all out for them. So that show obviously was good. But getting to that point was not fun because we had to, and then we found another guitarist, this dude from Tom from New Jersey, uh, teaching him the song. I think, you know, over like 2 days, just teaching him the songs. So the first couple shows for us were a little rocky, but we got into it, you know, midway through the tour.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Yeah, Somatic Defilement is 07, so this is like pre
Yeah,
that album.
I think they had a
well, they had the demo
EP,
stuff.
yeah, demo.
Yeah.
It was the same songs, just like
Yeah.
EP or demo quality versions of them.
Yeah, and already gaining hype at that point on MySpace.
Yeah, I mean,
like
they were
that,
definitely, you know, obviously a pretty big band at that time. So definitely psyched to be on tour with them.
So what happened? So let's assume Whitechapel unites you guys with SOAR, which would make sense if anything. But then what goes down afterwards? Because like I was saying, like there's like a even in I saw even like in a CD like insert, it was even written like, you know, album coming 2007, you know, and it was written on like the MySpace and stuff, like album go through SOAR coming 2007, you know, and that obviously that never came, and neither did an album on SOAR. So what happened there?
I don't know whose brilliant idea it was to just re-record the EP and add. I think we added 3 or 4 other songs. It didn't work out. It was a mess. Recording it was a shit show.
This is what you were talking about with this, going back to the same studio.
Yeah. We went back to Joe, at Full Force. Maybe we thought some SOAR money was coming in, or maybe they might have paid for some of it, honestly, actually, I think. But for whatever reason, it just started taking way too long to, you know, re-record these songs. And they just sounded terrible. You know, so like I think I was telling you earlier, to me, that album, you know, kind of, I love some of the songs. I see someone posted BFG, Onslaught, Brute Shot. I love Brute Shot. We're definitely going to be playing that song at the show. BFG, decent song, not really anything that we need to return to. And Onslaught, we actually wrote that song in the studio, just like on the fly. Cool song, I guess, but again, I don't think anything that we need to revisit. So for the most part, that the full length, to me, is just not worth anyone listening to.
Yeah,
you know, some people might have some different opinions on it. I mean, the main thing, obviously, the vocals were different. He had gone from doing, you know, the squeals and the pig squeals to more just lows, which worked in some parts, maybe didn't work as well in other parts. You know, obviously people back in the day hated the squeals. And
that's the irony, right?
Yeah,
and probably part of the reason why he switched.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, squeals were not well, you know, received back then. At least, like, I don't think so. And people, you know, not like today. I mean,
it wasn't being taken seriously in some ways. Like bands like Waking the Cadaver would get shit on all the time.
Yeah.
Bands like an edition of Nutopsy, all those bands people would shit on. Even Take Job for a Cowboy, they did it on the Doom EP, and then it was over. And I'm still upset.
Yeah, definitely. That. I mean, there's a lot of early YouTube videos of, you know, all those bands being made fun of because of their vocals. Which now it's the complete opposite. You know, I feel like everyone just, you know, wants to do guttural squeal shit. So we switched that up.
But I mean, there is something to be said though, and I've always kind of seen it this way. Like, you know, we mentioned Job for a Cowboy, you guys with the EP, Annotations of an Autopsy, Waking, like all these bands, like they still, like, despite like what we're saying here on like they weren't taken seriously and all these things, like that's what made a lot of those bands like stand out and like get super popular, right? Like Annotations of an Autopsy, especially at that time, like if they had put out that first EP without any squeals in it, would have not done what it did.
100%.
And I think
Nope.
you guys too, right? Like I think that's I think maybe what, you know, I think a lot of bands shot themselves in the foot by doing a switch up, thinking that like people weren't fucking with it, but like if you objectively looked at it, that's kind of part of what was dope about the band, and what the people that did listen already, like that's what they were there for. You know,
Made
they
them
weren't
special.
like listening to it and like ignoring the pig squeals. Like especially,
Yeah.
dude, Surgical Assault is like 90% pig squeals.
Yeah,
Like, that's all it
100%,
is.
you
You know,
know.
like so anyone listening to that has to be a fan of pig squeals in some capacity, or else you're fucking crazy. You know?
Definitely.
Dude, can you imagine a Doom EP without squeals? Come on, let's just be
Yeah.
honest here. Like that would, I mean, I cannot. Not saying it would be bad, but that wouldn't be the Doom EP.
And I
That's
guess
all I think.
just like the older heads at the time, you know, the dudes that, you know, were growing up in like the 90s and early 2000s, like it just wasn't a thing really. So like they're listening to it and they're like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah. But
So-
the flip side again,
We're
like all the
squealing
scene,
now?
all
Like,
the
what
scene
the-
kids fucking loved it. You know?
Yeah,
so
I guess
again, it's
so.
not like there was no audience for it. It's just I think people were
Yeah.
maybe vocally, they were vocal about it online and stuff, but and like making, like you said, like these YouTube videos and stuff maybe about it, or clowning in the comments. But big picture, like people were about it. I don't think like pig squeals like that were meant to stay around forever. To be fair, I guess. Like I don't
guess
think
they're here to stay now.
they're here to stay now. Now that deathcore is fucking cool, you know. But,
Deathcore was not cool back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think I heard the term deathcore until maybe 2007,
mm-hmm.
and it was not something like you wanted to be called back then. Like it was almost an insult to be called deathcore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I especially like I said, the older dudes coming from metal bands and death metal bands, for them to be like, oh, you're a deathcore band, it's like the ultimate insult.
Deathcore
It's not
in
real metal.
parentheses derogatory. You know.
Yeah. But now it's like, especially the younger generation, they specifically, I feel like, want to be noted as deathcore.
Yeah. Well, I
At
mean,
least I
Now
think
it's
so.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference is that's what they're shooting for now, right? And I think where the discrepancy was also back then, like there were some bands that eventually that, deathcore became a sound, and there were tropes and cliches or whatever. There's maybe a bit more of an expectation of what deathcore was, but for the most part, it was just, like I look at you guys and it's like you guys are just a death metal band, like a slamming,
Yeah.
death metal
Brutal
band
death
with
metal, yeah.
with some breakdowns, so I understand those bands, that were maybe more just, to your point, like just a death metal band, and then being called deathcore and being like,
Yeah.
nah, that ain't us, especially because that whole scene, like the death metal scene, would not, like, you if you were to embrace it, you'd probably lose the death metal scene.
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely caught in between, who was actually listening to us and who we wanted to be listening to us,
Yeah.
which probably hurt us to some degree. If we had leaned into more of, the scene kids and that whole, kind of thing going on, which we didn't really. Maybe we were kind of, I don't know, we were just like kind of, for whatever reason, turned off by it, and we wanted to be like, we're death metal, we're a death metal band, we want to be accepted by these I mean, it more even a death metal thing, a New York thing. We wanted to be accepted by these New York bands, like these legendary New York bands, and accepted as that. But that probably hurt us to some degree of.
Well,
wanting
it's I guess it's more so just to kind of go back to the full length. Like it's just when a band then does some sort of switch up that's kind of contrary to what the original like ethos was or what that sound was, then understandably, I guess, like some of the fans, you know, aren't going to necessarily vibe with it. And I guess the goal is always, to your point, you're like, well, we'll get the death metal crowd instead. Like you'll build a new audience, I would think. But that's like tough for a band to do, you know, to try and transition out of.
It didn't work for us. It didn't work for us at all.
Because then you're just hated from both sides. JFAC went through the same
100%.
thing. That's like that's
100%.
the story, you know. Yeah.
Jump for a Cowboy. I think it's easy, and I'm not saying that it's still a good band. I'm just saying like. Had they, you know, stay Doom EP relevant as big as Suicide Silence and all those, but like they would have like been crazy popular and I respect them actually for being like, we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want to do. That's like really respectable. But I'm just saying there's something to be said. Of course, if that's the new thing and the new generation is that's what they love. Of course, if you do that, that's what's gonna happen. You know, like you're gonna get bigger, but it's fascinating though that people seeked like I'm gonna say like the approval from the death metal scene, because all the hate came from the death metal. Like I remember seeing people just saying they would put deathcore and metalcore together back then. It would be like all core. I mean,
to
music
me, it was all
shit.
it was just metalcore. I mean, to me, it was just all metalcore. Yeah, that's just what it was.
Yeah.
So for them, I would see that all the time. Dude. If there's core in it, it's not metal. I saw that all the time. If there's core in what you do, it's not metal. And I personally would be like, okay, you know, give a shit if it is or not. But I can see how you're in a band, your influences are death metal. That's what you like. And then you're being called something else. And you're like, what? Like, that's kind of maybe what was happening for a lot of bands.
100%, definitely.
So it's like, it's basically people saying, yeah, you tried making death metal and it's not death metal. It's kind of what they were saying to all deathcore bands. Like, you tried doing death metal.
That's cute, but you know.
But you're doing core music.
Leave it to the rest of us. Yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of what they were saying, though.
You know, at the same time, going into like the mid to late 2000s, especially in the Northeast, everything was leaning very heavily towards just straight hardcore.
Yeah.
So our audience was shrinking for sure.
On both sides, like just
definitely. So you know, by the time we were playing some of our last shows, we were playing shows that, you know, we had no business being on because it was just like silly.
What do you mean by having no business being on? Like,
you know, just like playing with like not beat down hardcore, but like more, you know, I'm trying to think of like the style, you know,
you're opening for Madball type of thing, or like
you know, I mean, from, you know, being from Long Island, bands like, you know, like Backtrack, and stuff like that. That, you know, we I think the last show we played, a reunion-ish show in 2011. It was on like Long Island. It was called Long Island Fest.
Yeah.
And not a good turnout for us.
That lineup surprised the fuck out of me. To validate your point, I was going through flyers and show history and stuff, and like everything kind of makes sense. And then that show is like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, not a good show for us.
Because you guys are literally the only like death metal band on that bill.
Yeah, everything else was very like
Incendiary, Most Precious Blood.
Yeah.
You know, that This Is Hell, World of Pain, that sort of stuff.
Nothing, you know, the funny thing though, the kids that listened to that stuff back then, you know, hated on us and made fun of us, but now a lot of them are straight into, you know, all of them became, you know, like new metal kids or deathcore kids. A lot of them did, which is like hilarious to kind of think of how people just hop trends to
you guys were just too early. That's what happened.
I don't think so. I mean, obviously there was a lot of other bands like us at the same time that had wildly more success than we did.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were just too young and just didn't have our shit together.
Yeah. What it's gonna kill me if I don't ask you. So I want to put a pin on like, but I think it kind of goes into also the maybe a bit more of the ending of the band. Like you talked about the studio a couple times being like not a good experience and taking too long. Like what made it take so long? Like what was the why did it turn out the way it did? Like being I think personally like the record sounds less good, but then you're saying it's like it costs a lot of money and you guys spent so much time in it. It's these songs you guys have already recorded. It's not like you guys don't know the songs. So what the fuck happened there?
Like the energy was just not there. I think not so much with me, but with other members there was definitely some internal issues. So like there was just a lot of resentment building in the band. So we were just like not on our game, and things were taking many takes to record stuff that the first time around for Surgical Assault, we were killing things in like 1 or 2 takes, and like that was it. But we were taking hours to record guitars or bass for one song.
So tensions kind of starting from just that studio experience itself.
Definitely, and just the thought of I do think we might have gotten some money from SOAR for it, but not a lot. And just thinking, in the back of your mind, I mean, I was broke. I didn't have a job.
Sure, everything extra was coming out of pocket.
I had no money, so it's like there's always that thought in the back of your head, like, where is this money coming from?
Yeah, like get your takes done, because if not, nobody's gonna be able to pay for it, type of thing.
Yeah, but again, it just like didn't. We were just like fucking around and just not doing what we should have been doing.
Yeah. Because did SOAR just not want to put out Surgical Assault as it was? Because that always surprised me too. Like looking back,
I don't think it was necessarily because of the way that the album turned out. I think it was more they wanted us to be a more full-time touring band, and we just couldn't.
Okay.
And to go back to that show, that you brought up with the the European
Knights of the Abyss, Elijah.
So that was a European tour that we were supposed to go on. So that show for us didn't actually happen. We didn't play that show. There was a whole European tour that we were supposed to go on. I think it was like us, Whitechapel, Knights of the Abyss. I don't remember who. What is this right here?
Yeah, Knights of the Abyss, Elijah, Whitechapel, and you guys.
That looks about right.
USA finest deathcore young blood.
Yeah.
Knights of the Abyss.
So again, I don't have a passport. I don't have money to get to Europe. Like, so that is just, another adding on to the band slowly falling apart. Just internally.
But I mean, did you guys know like ahead of, because obviously you guys like said yes to the tour, I assume, fully intending to do the thing. Like, was it like afterwards being like, fuck, these flights
100%,
and all this
100%.
stuff is like not what we thought it was going to be?
100%.
Okay.
I mean, I think I assume I don't remember exactly. I just assume that, we're doing it and we'll figure it out when the time comes. But, obviously getting a passport takes time and money. Getting a ticket to Europe is time and money. All things that,
backline transport. Like,
as someone that, is still just in high school and dealing with going to high school, it just like was not working out. It didn't work out. Maybe some of the members were down and they had their shit more together than definitely more than me. But it just didn't work out. And that's probably one of the main reasons that we were kicked off SOAR.
Yeah. So you're like mixing kind of like you have this label, you're getting like pretty crazy, going to Europe, especially back then too, is like a big deal,
Yeah.
So getting this Euro tour, you have to bail from the Euro tour, you lose the label, you just went through this horrible fucking studio experience. You get out of there, you're not stoked on the songs and the quality of
it was
all this stuff. It
we
just
were
sounds like a
not
fucking crapshoot.
we were
Ultimately,
not stoked at all. And like I said, the people, I was not managing anything. I just didn't have the capacity to be doing that. So the people that were managing, I guess I would say mostly our bassist Dan and our singer at the time Matt, they were handling stuff, and I think they were definitely starting to clash. And that was definitely a strain on the band as well.
yeah. So then
You
what's
probably
like?
could.
Oh, go for it.
Sorry, dude, but you could probably feel it too. Like you're saying, like, I
Oh yeah,
wasn't really managing, but
100%.
you can feel when
Yeah,
things are falling apart.
because
It's
obviously, I'm stuck in the middle. I'm a neutral party in the band, so I'm kind of just in the middle of it.
I'm friends with neither of these guys.
Yeah, it got
hate
to a point.
everyone here.
It got to a point where maybe they're not talking or only talking like when they need to be talking, and it's just like I'm kind of in the middle, relaying things back and forth. So definitely a lot of tension.
Yeah, which you're in a band. That's that's rarely gonna work, I guess.
Yeah,
If the 5
especially
dudes in the band aren't able to just fucking
yeah,
talk shit out together and be like as a unit, it's just not gonna.
yeah, to be a professional band, like you need to come at it, you're essentially coworkers.
Yeah.
You kind of have to some level you have to come at it at that. It's hard when you're just best friends trying to like actually make a band work professionally.
Yeah.
And
And
a lot
getting
of
signed, it's basically your coworkers with a big loan, and
yeah,
you need to figure that out with very little money. That's without being mean. That's kind of what's happening when you
yeah.
get signed. Back in the days.
With people, especially when there's money involved, people want to do different things and have their
Tensions.
hands in different places. Again, me, I was just oblivious to it all. I guess I just don't remember anything going on at that
Yeah,
time. Other
you
than just like
just
I was the dude that just showed up and played, and I guess wrote a majority of the music. But when it came to managing the bands, I wanted nothing to do with it.
But
yeah.
again, you could feel a lot of
Oh,
that
100%.
stuff,
Yeah.
right?
It,
Like
it was, yeah, everyone in the band could, it was a lot. There was a lot of like fighting within the band for sure.
You guys do end up putting that album out still.
Yeah. I think we
like on a
self yeah. We
on like a smaller
self-released it.
label and stuff. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't remember. I think it was self-released.
Okay.
Um,
But you guys at that point, but you guys have the recordings.
yeah,
Assuming
we
at some
still
point you have
wanted
the
to do
artwork and stuff. You're like, all
We,
right, let's put this out. We're still trying to
we
play
had,
shows and stuff.
we had another East Coast tour lined up. We did do that. That was the winter of 2008. That was the last tour we did. That was us headlining. And we went out with another New York band, Revenants, and Implosive Discordance.
Sure, with Implosive. Okay, cool. Had you guys played shows with them prior to that?
I don't think so. I think that was the first time we had always been friends, and we're still friends with them now.
Yeah.
I think we
Immediately messaged us when
yeah
when we announced it earlier that you were coming on.
amazing guy Jeff and Matt. We're still we saw. I didn't see them, but our Kevin, our guitarist, and our bassist Dan and our drummer Matt actually saw them last year. I don't know why they were all randomly at some show in New York City. I think it was like a Meshuggah show. They all happened to be there, so they had a
Okay.
reunion. I was not there, but I'm glad that they were able to have a reunion.
I mean, talk about them coming back too is pretty fucking wild. Like them
Yeah,
coming back
I
a few
mean,
years ago
I've
and
always
putting out
been
new music
psyched
and it
on
fucking
them.
slapped. I'm like,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I huge respect to them. They've always tried, to go as hard as possible. They've stayed consistent with the music, putting
Yeah.
new music out. I'm glad, that they're still consistently playing shows, and I hope that, one day we can play shows with them. I would love to play shows with them again. So huge respect to them. Prior to being friends with them, and even much more now that we're friends with them.
Yeah. It's cool because the music they've put out since is like it still just sounds like them,
Yeah,
which
I mean, it's
which
been
is something I'm stoked about whenever.
Yeah, it's been consistently good music. I mean, they've stayed. I don't. I mean, maybe there was a period of time when they were not as active, but I think they've been pretty active all along.
I thought they kind of came back like post COVID and
I
were
think
taking a break,
they've
but maybe they
yeah,
just didn't do much, and I kind of lost
yeah.
sight of it.
I think there was within the 2010s they had done some stuff.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm always psyched on them, and I look forward to hopefully playing with them again.
What can you tell us about new music? Because you guys,
New music?
yeah, I mean, look, you guys are back. You guys just announced the show, which is dope. You're expressing the fact that you'd like to play some more shows, evidently.
Yeah.
So what's going on in the camp of the band right now? That you can talk about.
Unfortunately, we won't be playing any new music soon.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I would like to, we definitely won't be playing any new music for this show. But that's fine. I think, this being the 20-year anniversary of Surgical, we kind of want to stick to that. So I think we'll be playing most of Surgical and maybe one or two songs from the full length.
That's clearly what the people want for what it's worth, right?
Definitely.
Like you guys aren't weird for doing that. I think it's cool,
No.
but I was more so just alluding to the bigger idea of you guys continuing on as a band and coming back and potentially putting out more music in the future.
100%. I mean, I've definitely been writing a lot of music. We probably have 5 or 6 new songs written to some degree, and have demoed, somewhat recorded them. So they do exist. It's been more getting the rest of the bands at the same page that I am at, because I've been pushing through for the last 3 or 4 years pretty hard, but just getting the rest of the bands at the same level is they're definitely the reaction that they saw with the show announcement and how people seem to be psyched on it. We're hoping to get them more on board to actually want to continue to do stuff.
Look, all I'm gonna say, and I don't want to give you any false hope, but we've seen many a bands in the past few years be like, hey, we're just gonna do this reunion show. And that's always been like the thing that gives them the bug,
Yeah,
that oh, you know what? Maybe we could do some more shows, and maybe it could be fun. There's just something I think about like getting the boys back together,
Yeah, 100%.
and like just actually living it.
I mean, I definitely don't want to just be like a legacy reunion band. That's not something I have any interest in. I mean, I definitely would like to put out new music and continue to play new music and write new music, especially now, I have money for good equipment, and obviously I've been playing guitar for 20 plus years now.
Since
my writing skill has definitely increased since 2006. So new music that I have written, different but still sort of the same, I guess.
Well, I'd love for you to kind of expand on that, because you did talk to me a little bit about what you were going for in terms of style, or
Yeah.
what you wanted it to sound like, or what you were trying to convey. So what can people expect?
I mean, definitely keeping a lot of the brutal, slamming stuff, but more, I guess, traditional death metal, or trying to be more technical death metal. So definitely a lot more lead stuff, as I am the lead guitarist.
Yeah. You'll be able to live up to the name now. Yeah.
So definitely a lot more lead aspects, which I wish we were able to touch on, the older songs. Just didn't have the capability of playing stuff that we wanted to back then. But now we do.
Has that been cool to kind of, dive back into recording music, and to your point, being better now and being able to maybe express yourself in maybe a more accurate way to what you were trying to portray back then, but now,
Yeah,
like, has that been
absolutely.
a bit of a trip?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm psyched on it. The songs will definitely be longer. I think the shortest song,
losing the grindcore roots.
losing the, I mean, definitely still all there. I mean, I think the shortest song is probably over 3 minutes at this point, which, Surgical Assault, the longest song, was maybe pushing 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
But we definitely have some songs that are pushing maybe 4 or 5 minutes now. But it is more of a traditional death metal sound, I guess you could say. I hope people are not mad about that. But you can't be mad about, we haven't put out new music in 20 years. Like, you can't really be like, oh, these guys aren't staying the same as, the music that they put out. I mean,
well, I mean, that, and I told you this in DMs too. I mean, there's just also the fact that, like, you guys have always been a death metal band. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like it's, I know you guys were like grouped in the scene and stuff, but like ultimately, like, if anyone's surprised by you guys putting out new music and it sounds like death metal, they were just not listening. Like, respectfully,
I don't think real death metal people back in the day would agree with that, but sure, I do. But fuck them.
No, but again, I mean, it's in context of where we're at now, like,
yeah,
it's
definitely. So I definitely want things to be more technical. It's definitely the speed and the heaviness is still there. Just a lot more technical aspect.
Well, also because it's going to be like, you're just being genuine. That's what you want to do.
Yeah,
That's what you want to play.
I mean, as far as like influence, I mean, I stopped listening to, deathcore-ish music maybe 2009, and didn't really pick back up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Was this like death metal and stuff included, metalcore, all that, or was it strictly just
no,
out of love with the deathcore?
Maybe some bands that I had already, known, but a lot of new music, like just metal in general,
Right.
any kind of metal from like 2009 or 10 to 2022, 23. I did not, a lot of it I just didn't listen to, or, a lot of music that came out at that time. I have no idea. I've gone back and revisited some things. But as far as writing, coming back into it, my mind was still like in 2007.
That's what we love to hear.
So definitely, it's just whatever, is just coming out of my brain, I guess I could say. There's not a lot of, definitely not a lot of newer influence, I guess you could say. There's some, you know, there's been some bands that have definitely newer bands that, you know, I've definitely like and, you know, listen to for inspiration for sure.
So like well, two things. I'm curious what some of those bands are, but I also in general like what gave you the itch to get back in, like you're saying 2022, 3, whatever, to like start listening to this music again? Like was there like a band you heard something you're like, "Oh shit, maybe I've been missing out," or like what kind of happened
really.
there?
It was more in 2020 Wax Vessel had reached out to us and wanted to press Surgical Assault.
Yeah.
And I was like, fine, yeah, I'm down with that. And I think previous, maybe, what was it, 2000? I had no idea that this even happened in, what was it, 2017, 2018, that Inherited Suffering put out.
Yeah, 16,
the
yeah.
2016, okay.
Yeah.
Had put out the full length and the Surgical Assault as one new remastered thing. I didn't find that out until maybe a couple years after that it was even a thing.
So you're really not looking up your own band name?
No, I was not. I mean, I came across that, like,
that's what pops up if you do, you know. So.
I came across that like a couple years after, and was just like, "What the fuck?" And had reached out to Inheriting Suffering. They were very nice, and explained, you know, things that had happened with previous members. You know, giving them permission
allowing that to happen. Yeah.
You know, previous members of the band, you know, that we don't need to name, had gone behind people's backs and, you know, given Inherited Suffering, you know, sold us out a little bit for them to put that out. I didn't know that. So when I found out, I was kind of pissed. But it was whatever. He was super cool about it. And he kind of explained what happened, and was cool about it, and just like, hey, like, I get these are your songs, do whatever you want with them. Like, so that's another thing kind of over the last 5 years, kind of, you know, reclaiming the band a little bit and taking it back to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of
uploading the music to Spotify. And
yeah, you know, kind of, you know, wanted to slowly, I mean, over the last, I don't know, maybe, you know, 4 or 5 years, you know, build some sort of presence, you know, some sort of, you know, foundation in hopes that we were able to come back, you know. So us coming back now, you know, it's, you know, in the back, you know, been in the works for probably, you know, close to 6 years.
Sure. With like that Wax Vessel kind of wanting to do Surgical Assault, I assume also pushing you guys to be like, okay, well, people are going to have eyes on this. Let's maybe like put our ducks in a row for this thing coming out. And
so, yeah, I mean, I've definitely tried to take advantage of, you know, any spotlight that, you know, our band could be in as much as possible for, you know, not releasing music for 20 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I feel with that is kind of coming to an end. So, you know, I feel like we can't ride this album out too much longer. So definitely hoping to get new music out there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I think like just like for old fans and stuff, like just like a single would already be like
100%. And I'm glad that a lot of the younger kids are finding us and listening to us, and able to you know, hear it for the first time. Obviously, I think that is cool, and I would hope that a lot of the younger generation is getting into it. It seems like, I don't know how they're finding it. I mean, we've definitely, like I said, we've tried to be a little bit more in the spotlight as much as we can. So I'm glad that they are enjoying it, but definitely for me, I'm over it, but I'm glad that other people aren't.
Well, look, yeah, it's old for you, but it's new for so many people. I think, to what you just said. And like we've said this on the show a million times already, but like when we started up the show almost 3 years ago, and like the MySpace like deathcore revival thing was like starting to be a thing, but our goal was just to talk to like the bands that we fucked with that were from like the MySpace era. That was kind of like the original idea, and we figured the only people that would be watching us would be 30 plus years old, like for sure. And to our surprise is exactly what you're just describing there too. Like there's so many young kids in 2026 discovering this whole back catalog of bands from that era and finding it cool and releasing their own music that's like inspired by that whole wave as well. And that's been like the craziest thing to kind of witness. And most of these people are like, dude, they're like really invested in trying to find out like what those cool bands were from back in the day, and like find out anything they can about them and all this stuff. So like, again, that's like why we do like an episode like this with you, where like, you can't find that info anywhere. There's like none of that context to be had anywhere.
Yeah.
So sure, for the old heads it's cool, but especially for anyone getting into the band, it's like, hey, here's some more context, and that's been really rewarding and really cool to see. Because like, to your point, like even for us, Surgical Assault is 20 years old. Like it's not new to us anymore either, right?
Yeah.
But it's so cool to see like just new people finding this stuff and like having that same. I can only imagine like how I felt listening to that music like back then, how fucking cool I thought it was, and then like imagining like a 16, 17-year-old today having that same feeling listening to those songs, right? And that might sound like foreign for like someone like you who's like, you made these songs 20 years ago and you're over them and all this shit, but like that's something special. I don't know, that's like, to me, that's like so cool with where we're at with like deathcore and stuff right now,
that people are able to find it. I mean, obviously it's sick that there's so many other newer bands that people have to listen to now. There was a lot of bands back then, but not even to like the degree that it is now.
Dude, there's like 10 new MySpace deathcore bands a day now.
I think I came back into it just like at the start of the whole MySpace revival, which is cool. I'm glad that they're finding enjoyment in it. I can't say that I ever really give a fuck about MySpace. But if that is what they're finding fun in, then that's awesome. There's definitely a lot of new bands definitely killing it and going way harder than a lot of original MySpace bands ever did. So
they really get it too. Like it's cool to see that. I have a really random. I don't know if Dom, you were about to like just say something about.
Well, I just wanted, we never kind of answered the question of like what are some of those like newer bands that you were talking about maybe serving as some sort of influence or that you're digging in kind of recent years since coming back into this kind of style of music.
Definitely, Peeling Flesh, Psycho Frame.
There we go.
So it's cool to, we've talked, I've talked to some of the dudes in Psycho Frame, and, it's funny to, be inspired by a band that was inspired by your band. It's cool. Their music is definitely better than our music. So
it's all subjective, my man. There's no comparison to be made here. Okay, that's cool. What were you gonna say? Ian?
Oh no, it's just to me and it's gonna sound so stupid. One of my first attraction to your band back then was like the logo. I know it's stupid. I know it's super stupid, but like
that old one.
Yeah, I mean like the kind of the stretched ones, like
the surgical assault one, the surgical assault logo.
That to me still now is one of the coolest fucking logos ever. Do you remember who did that? How it came about? Like I don't know. I know it's a while back.
I don't remember who did that logo. I wish I did, but that even more recently, I see someone out in the chat. This is a slightly newer logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is from the self-titled era.
Yeah.
The surgical assault logo. Don't remember who did it, but we still get a lot of shit even today.
Really?
That we're ripping. So many people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So many people.
Come on.
They're just trying. They're ripping off them with that logo.
You can say that about any logo, about any other band, like all the time. Like, I'm not kidding. You could right now. You could look for it, and I could pick two logos and say, "Oh, it's a metal logo." Like, with all due respect, like I understand where they're coming from because like but dude, like to me, and I love annotations. And my mind didn't really. I was just like that logo is sick as hell. That was my
So even to this day, we get people being
even recently.
Yeah, I mean, even some of
that's the logo era we're in 2026. Everyone got something to say about everything, so that doesn't surprise me. But
that
back
logo
then surprises
even
me more.
Maybe not so much back then, but definitely more recently.
You would say, oh wow, that's...
even just some of the flyers for the show, that logo is on it. I've seen it posted in like other places, and maybe people are just not familiar with us, and it's like, oh, like trying to be annotations much, like it's like,
bro,
like,
which is fine. They're an awesome band. But I will be that guy and say I think our logo existed before theirs.
There we go. Well, they had another logo before that one that they used,
and it wasn't that one. And I love the first annotation one. I'm one of the rare who prefer. It's like a blob. It looks like guts, basically. So you're right. I'm pretty sure you guys had, and even even worse than even if. Let's say you did it after, like, dude, like...
No, 100%. No one is copying anyone. It's just what it was. That's just like the logos that it was, So that's why it's even just kind of ridiculous for people to be like, oh, they're ripping off this. Like, no one was ripping off anyone.
Dude. But that... Okay, look, I don't care how this makes me come across. Like, this... This is exactly what I hate about the internet in 2026. Everyone gotta had some dumbass fucking opinion about some shit like this, like they know better, like they know anything, and like their opinion matters on like if your guys' logo looks like somebody else's logo. Like, who gives a fuck, dude?
You're trying to be like that band. Like, you're telling that to a band that was there like before MySpace. That's just like doing like they're coming back, they're doing something cool.
Yeah,
you're
I just don't
trying
know if
to be annotation. Like, what?
I just don't know if people are just not familiar with us, or if maybe that's just what it is, which is fine. Like, I don't care. But to just like on the cuff, just randomly be like, "Who's this band? They're trying to be this other band." Like, that's just like, why?
But that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like people that aren't informed that are giving out their dog shit
which
opinions.
Is the problem.
That's what I deplore.
Being that confident about something you don't know shit about. That's the impressive part. Like with the show here, right? Like we release clips and stuff like that. And this is going to be like an insight on what we do. But like very often we're going to post like something from somebody who's very like well known in our scene, is very credible, and then you're gonna see people online being like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's like someone from like one of the biggest bands from that era, and I'm like, what are you fucking saying? So I'm just saying, like, there's a difference between, you can disagree, music is subjective, sure, but to, like, if you attack, maybe you should maybe look it up a little bit, or just like at least know what you're about to especially if it's in like a dig or an insult. Like, I personally would want to know what I'm talking about. Like, that's just what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just, people just don't care. I mean,
Yep.
keyboard warriors, I guess they figure, who do they ever really have to face? So whatever, just write whatever you want. I mean, again,
it's more engagement.
It doesn't bother me. Yeah, exactly. It's, people can comment whatever they want on whatever post. Yeah, it just pushes the algorithm farther.
Exactly. They're helping a lot. Like, I've got regular people, they're just getting to shit on whatever I do. I'm like, thanks, man. Like, it's you're here. Thank you, I guess. It's like going to see a band that you keep saying their show was bad. Yeah, you're there. Like, you buy tickets, you're there, you're talking about the band, you're even posting, stories and stuff like that. Like, the people need to understand, or maybe they don't, but like, the algorithms don't make the difference if you're being negative or positive. You're talking about it, you're sharing it. So, I see that all the time on my page. Like, I mostly talk about deathcore, and I see the same people being like, deathcore is crap, deathcore is shit, deathcore is crap. I'm like, the only thing you're telling the algorithm is that you love deathcore right now. That's what you're doing, like, constantly. I want more deathcore. That's exactly what you're asking. So I think it's a lot of, a lack of awareness in general.
We got to get the clip for the social media. You already know. That's mandatory on the show here. We got to ask you a very crucial question.
Lay it on me.
Can you give me your top 5, like the definitive top 5 MySpace deathcore bands?
Like the
for you, like for
me personally, not like what I think like the standards are.
I won't include that in the clip, just to be clear.
Okay.
But yes.
For me, top 5 deathcore bands.
From like the good kind.
I'll say from my personal opinion and what I think that the standards kind of are.
Sure. Okay.
Suicide Silence. Whitechapel. I want to say Job for a Cowboy, but maybe not so much. Jeez, this is hard. Damn.
I mean, it's your list, right? So it doesn't have to be like a big
Shall
band
Perish,
or objective or anything.
All Shall Perish, and I almost want to say Animosity.
Oh,
that's it.
Yeah. So let's say Suicide Silence, Whitechapel, Job for a Cowboy, Despise Icon, Animosity.
Oh, okay. Okay, I respect it. And is that a general list, or that's your list?
A little bit of both. Mixed.
Okay.
Because I feel like some bands that I would say personally are maybe not so much MySpace deathcore bands.
Okay, well, give me one or two of those bands. I'm just curious, what's top tier in your opinion, regardless of other people's opinions or whatever, like or size. You've been raving about Implosive Disgorgence like from this entire episode. I mean, it'd be kind of crazy not to name them, right?
I mean, sure, they can definitely be on that list. Beneath the Massacre, love Beneath the Massacre. again, not really deathcore, but that same time period, Necrophagous.
Okay.
Again, not really deathcore. The Black Dahlia Murder, definitely one of my favorite bands. Geez.
You might have.
We're not fishing for 20 band shout outs. I was just curious what the general vibe was for you back then, and it still holds up.
This might be the most respected answer so far because you went as far as saying animosity, because like the moment you don't mention like one of the like OGs like that, like you're being like roasted maybe, but you said this part Psycho, but at the same time you gave credit to like Job and all those bands, and right after that you say super respected bands like Beneath the Massacre and stuff. So that might and I'm saying that and people still gonna find way to
Beneath the Massacre, Brain Drill. Again, not a deathcore band in the slightest, but from that time period.
I mean, look, if you enjoyed if you enjoyed Beneath the Massacre, you de facto also enjoyed Brain Drill. Like 100%. That was just the rule.
Yeah, 100%. Glass Casket, amazing band. Again, I don't know if that's. I guess it's considered deathcore to some sense.
I mean, look, it's a broad.
Like I said, I
painting with broad strokes
for
here.
For me, I come from a more just broader metal-ish background. I'm definitely a more metal than I am hardcore or deathcore, so just straight up death metal and metal is definitely where I'm coming from.
Anyway, let's remember that all the core aren't metal.
Anyway, it's not even metal. It's just it's automatically dismissed.
It doesn't count. So
okay, we got two things to talk about to close this out. There's the show.
That's
there's
crazy.
This merch.
And there's merch, yeah.
Hey, the red
the
foil,
jersey?
The jersey, but the red foil here. Ooh.
Yeah,
it's pro.
I was not really a foil guy. Never had foil merch back in the day. Never really liked it.
But
this might change. This changed me a little bit more. Yeah.
But I'm in love with the jersey personally. That's what I'm.
Yeah, I mean, I always loved basketball jerseys.
The classic logo.
I'm glad that we never had one back in the day, so having one now, amazing.
Making amends.
I remember having the Knights of the Abyss one for many years. So to have this one is sick.
Dude, that's insane.
Well, I mean, and again, it's with the classic fucking.
Yes.
There's one T-shirt that people would recognize. It's that
100%,
red splatter with the logo on top.
The only complaint that I have is that it's there's a band called Annotations of Intimacy, and it's that's.
I will say I think we'll be retiring the splatter design soon. I think we've outdone it enough. So
you heard it here first. This is your final chance to get these, man.
Buy it while you can. Yeah.
But that logo needs to be everywhere. That's my personal opinion.
I think we're sticking with the Surgical Assault logo for at least the time being. I know we have 3 or 4 logos over the years. That one's my favorite. We're probably going to stick with that one for a while.
Hey, it fits the vibe of everything you told us you guys were going for moving forward too. So, and then what can you say? What can you say about the show? I know this has been under wraps for so fucking long, bro.
Yeah,
we've been waiting on this announce. So what can you tell us about the show and getting the boys back together? Them agreeing to say yes finally.
It's been hard. Like I said, it's been 2 or 3 years of me basically begging them to do something. We had numerous offers over the years, and I would bring it to them and be like, can we please play this? This is awesome. Like, and just it didn't work out for people, either just timing or just
Yeah,
not
it's
wanting to do
investment too.
it.
You got to jam it out and relearn the
Yeah,
songs and
I
all this
mean,
stuff, right?
it's a lot of time. We're not full-time musicians. We have full-time jobs. We have families. We have everything going on. So it's definitely hard to get things together. Um, Luckily for us, our songs are pretty easy and pretty short. So relearning them has not been that hard. The hardest thing is actually the quality of the recordings. It's hard to hear some of the guitars.
Make
So
out what's going on. Yeah.
it's we remember we got it like 90% down, but we're working on it. We're gonna be show ready. I think we'll be better at this show than past shows.
The last shows
We're
you guys
better.
did, yeah.
We're better musicians. We have better gear. Back in the day, we weren't working with a lot of the best stuff. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
we're at a level where we can put on a more professional show. And with this show, we got to bring it. The lineup is awesome. It's definitely as cool of a lineup I can think of for a show back in 15 plus years.
Yeah, and part of the broader Hellfest that's going on, that's got a
Yeah.
fucking insane lineup to begin with. So it's the day before the rest of the
Yep.
fest. Like everyone's already
Yeah.
going to be in town. Like I don't know, it seems like it's an auto sellout, good time, homies in town.
Yeah,
type,
exactly.
type
I
of deal,
mean,
right?
it was kind of a no-brainer for us. I mean, is it the most like, do we fit on the show the most? Not exactly, but it's Hellfest. Like, why would we not play? I mean, it's been a dream to play, anything Hellfest related, since
Yeah.
we were 13, 14 years old.
Sure, and I mean, look, for what it's worth, like the main fest lineup looks like this too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's super diverse
I
as
mean,
as it
and that's
is.
what I mean. That's a good thing about it. Yeah, that's how it's always been. I remember watching the Hellfest DVDs back in the day, and it's just like a crazy assortment of all kinds of bands. Um, so I'm glad that the fans get to see a little bit of everything.
Yeah, hell yeah. You guys been jamming?
Yeah. So we've been relearning the songs. We're trying to jam as much as possible. So
I mean, that must be cool. Just that, jamming
Yeah.
with the boys
I
and
mean,
hanging out.
we've stayed close over the years, but to do it musically, yeah, I mean, it's definitely awesome to get back at it.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, I'm so stoked. You guys are back, actually playing some shows, eventual music, all this stuff. So yeah, I also want to thank you for doing this with us and kind of
Absolutely, yeah.
coordinating this with us. We were able to wait out for like the show announcement and I think it is like a good time to do this sort of thing with you and kind of go take a trip down memory lane and have something to announce at the same time and all that. So
yeah, it's definitely, I know we've been talking for months at this point, I think, and have known about the show since maybe the beginning of March or something, and just so just sitting on that, just antsy, like when are we announcing, like so now that it's all finally out there, we're psyched.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, I'm very stoked, and this was cool, man. I had a blast tonight. So again, man, dude, thank you for taking the time
I'm glad
and
we got to spread some of the history. I mean, like you said, there's not a lot of info on the band out there. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that has happened in a short period of time. So glad to shine some light on that and let people know some things that happened and are gonna happen.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, we'll have to keep in touch.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
we'll, yeah, well,
maybe next
let
time
you,
we can have more members. If we come back, we'd love to come back.
absolutely, man.
Of
Like, I
course.
mean, we already know there's more to come, right? So we'll
Yeah.
have to coordinate some
Yeah.
more stuff around
Hopefully,
more music.
maybe new music soon this year. Let's say this year.
This year, okay.
Okay.
This year.
I'll hold you to that.
You know.
Let's go into the Mind Palace here. If it's late December and we haven't heard anything,
No,
I'll be in the
I mean,
DMs.
at that point, I would probably just hold out for next year. But I'm hoping for we want to make sure if we're putting out new music, we want to have more shows lined up too, so we can play new music for people.
There we go. Hell
Makes
yeah.
sense.
All right. Well, we'll let you get on with the rest of your night, and
Awesome.
we'll be in touch, my man.
Thanks
Awesome.
again.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Take it
Have a
easy,
good
dude.
one, dude. Thank you. Bye.
If you made it to the end of this episode, thank you for watching. And hey, while you're here, hit that subscribe or follow button and a review. If you're watching or listening on a podcast platform, it would mean the world and it helps out more than you know. A big thank you as well to all of our supporters over on Patreon and on Twitch. New episodes every week, links to our Patreon, Discord, and socials in the description. We'll see you soon. We're out.